lacking here and there, and I have a whole group of people who have decided to come along with me. So I'm wishing them all the best as well. And, after 75 days, I hope we're all better for it. Yeah.
How are you doing, Tokwe?
I'm very good. Grateful to God as well for life. Two quick rants. The first one, on behalf of all, my PA is currently in the camp in somewhere in Oyo State, I think is saying, and we just made life a bit difficult for them. A lot of our young people are used to their phone, and there is no charging point, and the only charging point available in camp has to be paid for. So there's an amount of money you pay to charge your phone, to charge power bank, to charge headphones, to charge MiFi, and she's like, she has to ration her budget, so she can only charge her phone every 2 days. So if the battery dies in between, the battery is dead because there's no other option but to pay. And I asked her, she find out, is it possible that you mean like there's no place where you can charge for free or all of that? Let's just make life easy for people, and let people not capitalize on the weakness of the system because they charge 250 for charging phone, 200 for charging MiFi, 300 for charging power bank. Like, you will pay separately. Let's just help each other out, and especially these people that are not working. Then I also wanted to talk about a gist I got from my mom, and I did not believe it was true, but she's reframing it. If you go to the market to buy stuff, you as a customer, you pay to buy, you have Alabaru help you to carry your load. Your Alabaru pays Agbero for carrying your load. You pay Agbero for your vehicle. So invariably, you are paying the Agbero twice, because the Alabaru is going to inflate their price to meet up with the fact that they have to pay Agbero. So this old man was carrying oranges for my mom, and he said he would have to charge 500 naira for carrying the oranges because he would be paying the Agbero in 100 naira for carrying the oranges.
Wow.
Why are we doing this to ourselves? Like, I don't understand. So you will
call the legal system. I met it.
Yeah. No, we've always done this. They collect from us.
No, but
they don't collect from the person carrying on the head.
It's just because he revealed it to you, but they do. When you ask them, they charge you. They also pay taxes.
Get something due.
Amatu, how you doing?
The legal
mixed feelings. Wow. So as I was coming, there's no petrol now. So I bought black market. So I managed it here.
Yeah, that's it.
And then the rest is my kids. Of course, we are preparing for school. So our list is very long, and the prices of things are not smiling at all.
Yeah, I went school shopping yesterday, and I was like shocked. The amount of money that left my account just because I wanted to buy shoes, school bags, clothes, uniforms, and stuff like that. And then usually 30K fills my tank. I filled it up, and it was like half tank. I'm like, what's going on here? I couldn't go. I had an event yesterday on the island. I said, I'm sorry, I can't make it. Now, these engagements, you have to pay me before I start going anyway. Yesterday, I really wanted to go to that event. Because I really had
They invite you to pay for fuel as well as at least that's what I get for extra.
But yesterday's, it was a nice party that I missed. It was a really lovely party that I missed. But I had to miss the party because I didn't have fuel. I was like quarter tank. I'm like going to the island.
And then tomorrow,
pushing my car on terminal just because I want to go to a party. So I had to just stay home. But I hope this thing works out. And thank God it's our topic today. So hopefully we get some clarity. And what I love about this show is that this show we speak to Nigerians, and we're able to hear from Nigerians when they call in to express their own thoughts on this. So let's go on a short break. When we come back, we look at the front pages of the papers, and then we go into this field matter. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
We're going to start with the nation. Why NNPCL filling stations adjusted prices by experts? Dangote Refinery petrol ready for sale at fuel stations. Our reforms will lead to economic growth, says Tinubu. Court orders arrest of Britain, others for alleged incitement of mutiny. Otedara hails Tinubu on commencement of petrol production at the Dangote Refinery. Ubumosho crisis. Monarchs have no authority to interfere in religious leadership. Okay, story.
The Federal High Court in Abuja has issued a warrant of arrest against a Briton, Andrew Martin Wine, aka Andrew Povich, and his alleged Nigerian accomplices, Lucky Ehis Obion and Abdullahi Musa, for their alleged complicity in terrorism and related criminal activities. They said the order for their arrest was issued yesterday after an application was filed by the IGP. They said they had declared them wanted following that, that these suspects also have been on the run since these accusations. Then they also said that the orders were required for security agencies to arrest the alleged fleeing suspects. So the question is, wherever they are found, wherever you see that they are meant to be arrested, they are involved in conspiracy, treason, inciting to mutiny, inciting disaffection to government, terrorism, amongst others. And then we also have a blogger, I think it's what he's called. He's accused of Tamuno Bifiri, sorry, I'm taking a while. He was accused of mobilizing and soliciting aid to compel government to act or abstain from certain acts through end bad governance protests, accused of money laundering allegations also against the president. So he's a self-acclaimed whistleblower, and he's been accused of, all that I have mentioned. Okay. So they said cybercrime as well, engaging money laundering, unlawfully obtaining and retaining and disseminating classified secret documents. Okay. Yeah.
So in Ogbomoso, there's been slight, the chief imam crisis has been ongoing. The Olugbon of Orile Igbon, Oba Francis Alawo, has thrown his weight behind the chief imam of Ogbomoso, Yunus Ayilara. He said that the traditional rulers do not have a right to interfere with any religious leader, and this is coming on the back of the fact that the Shomo of Ogbomoso, Oba Gandhi Olaoye, at last Friday appointed Ayilara as chief imam at his palace, and they felt this was a move to sort of according to them, it's a move interpreted within the Islamic community in the town to replace him as the chief imam, even though he was just appointed. So there was a letter, and there's been controversy that the Shonwu has no right to do this. Now, because the Shonwu was a pastor, is a known Christian, so anything seen can be misinterpreted in multiple ways. The Muslim rights concern, Murik, criticized the Shonwu's move, describing it as subterfuge to weaken Islam in a stratagem to enslave Muslims and all of that. So the Oba is saying, don't just put another Oba with the Orile Gomoa said, don't just get involved. Traditional rulers shouldn't get involved in anything that has to do with religious leaders and who gets appointed as a religious leader within the community.
Okay.
Yeah, so I have the story of the Dangote Refinery petrol ready for sale at fuel stations. They said the Dangote Refinery rolled out petrol from its plant yesterday. They said Nigerians will be able to buy product produced by the firm from tomorrow. They said the vice president of the oil and gas at Dangote, Mr. Edwin, and group commercial operations director, Hajia Fatima Aliko Dangote, and the Dangote himself expressed gratitude to Nigerians for their support and praised the president for fostering an environment that made the successful launch of the 650,000 barrels per day refinery possible. They said this is a great moment for them because Nigeria has not produced petrol or gasoline for many years. They said this development will provide energy for our nation's growth, development, and prosperity. And then Dangote said, I want to personally thank Mr. President for introducing the concept of Naira for crude and Naira for products. This initiative will bring much needed stability to the Naira by reducing the demand for dollars in the market by 40%, which will help stabilize the exchange rate. Okay. So hopefully we should get the petrol stations.
The Punch. Labour demands reversal set to meet, as according to The Punch, and referring to the petrol price hike. Fleeing buttock enlargement doctor now in custody, says Lagos police. 34 Yobe villagers killed by Boko Haram get mass burial. Power generation hits 5,313 megawatts, first time in 3 years. PDP governors knock Wike, say Fubara, Rivers party leader. And hunger protest, police squeeze staff of Wanted Britain. Okay, which story are we taking?
No fewer than 34 Yobe villagers were killed Sunday by Boko Haram terrorists in Mafa village, and they were given a mass burial on Tuesday. The villagers said, according to the villagers, they said there were over 100 persons killed. But the state government says the casualty figure was 34. So the dead bodies were recovered in a search and rescue operation. It was led by the Nigerian army and supported by local vigilantes. So where government is saying casualty figure is 34, we have villagers claiming that 86 dead bodies were recovered in the surrounding communities. The bodies were prepared for burial by volunteers of the Nigerian Red Cross Society. The police have also said that they are yet to ascertain the exact numbers of lives that were lost in the incident. So this happened Sunday at 4 p.m. Investigation is ongoing. The deputy governor of the state went to the community. He donated 30 million naira to the families of the victim. They said the governor also was truly devastated by the incident, and he had gone on, to meet with the chief of defense staff over sustainable security in the community. And yes, conversation continues. Yet another attack.
Let me talk about Wike and the governors. So the PDP governors yesterday lambasted the minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, over his threat to destabilize their state if they continue to support the River State governor, Simi Fubara. The governor's response was contained in the statement on Tuesday, yesterday by the Director General of the PDP Governors Forum, that's Emmanuel Agbo. According to the Punch report, the political strife between Wike and his predecessor and estranged political godson Fubara rages on as the PDP governors at their recent meeting declared support for Fubara. And displeased by the governor's support for Fubara, Wike had told them that if they don't stop, that he has warned them that he could orchestrate crisis in their state if they would not desist from that support. However, the PDP governors responded to Wike saying that all his threats are empty and he can't do anything about it. So the issues are ongoing. I know that today is Wednesday. It's supposed to be the committee for the National Working Committee of the PDP. So we'll see what happens at the end of today. But let me go on a short break. When we come back, we continue with our review. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your view will be right back.
Confidence is important in life's little moments. Strong teeth can help, even if they get her into trouble sometimes.
As the morning light filters in, the Max Breakfast kickstarts your day from the bedside.
We bring you the morning vibe and plenty of ginger to start your day right.
Join us on the Max Breakfast as we help you seize your day one step at a time. On Max Hits, we've got the ultimate playlist for you. We give you back-to-back.
And all the biggest news from the world of entertainment. Only on Max Hits.
Waiting the apple, waiting the shop. Tune into our award-winning waiting the 102.3 Max FM.
Lagos, Nigeria, you're welcome to the Max Drive.
Whether you're there for inside motor, you're there for inside traffic, we're there for you with a Max Drive.
You know what it is. It's the Max House Party. King Dion, DJ Charlie Shee. Let's go.
102.3 Max FM. Hit music for Lagos.
Global Entrepreneurship Festival to be hosted at the Entrepreneurship Village in Nigeria, November 22nd to the 24th. Join world leaders, heads of state, diplomats, ministers, governors, investors, policymakers, tech leaders, organizations, startups, and entrepreneurs from all over the world. To attend, visit www.globalentrepreneurshipfestival.com. For partnerships, call 234-912-165-9914. Over 20 million viewers, 5,000 event participants, 200 exhibitors, 43 global speakers, and 12 events, which includes conferences, trade fairs, innovation and robotics expo, art and creative exhibitions, a dazzling fashion show, and a closing concert. All in one global festival. Don't miss it.
Ladies and gentlemen, make welcome the grand comedian of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Gbenga Adeyinka the First. OJ right here, 7 of 7, like you already know.
Gbenga right here, 7 of 7, like I'm beginning to know.
It's now time for the question.
You don't scare me one bit. Bata, I go drink. So.
Okay. So now one chance for enter. My first question. Do you remember?
Thanks for staying with us. We're still reviewing Punch.
Okay, so I have the story on power. They said the national grid on Monday hit a record high of 5,313 megawatts, a record high in the last 3 years. They said the Minister of Power, Adilabu, called on power distribution companies to take more energy to prevent grid collapses, as the grid's frequency drops when power is produced and not picked by the discos. However, they said there is an official that is one of the discos, Dangote, saying that power companies were finding it difficult to pick the extra energy produced by generation companies because they were not happy with the tariff on other bands apart from band A. He also said that we are operating at a loss. We supply more power, but this problem could be solved with improved tariff for the other bands. So he's saying that they should increase the price of the other bands so that they can meet up and be able to pick up the power and provide more electricity. So they also said that he said efforts will be made to encourage industries to purchase bulk energy. Let's see how that goes.
Okay, so the Lagos State Public Relations Officer, Benjamin Ojeni, has released the detail of the fact that the medical doctor, Idarabase, who was declared wanted in connection with the death of the 36-year-old woman during the Brazilian butt lift cosmetic surgery procedure, has now been, she has been apprehended. She's undergoing investigation. They said the state's CID, that's the State's Criminal Investigation Department in Panti, is looking into the issue. They have spoken to numerous medical experts who have already always warned about the potential risk of the procedure, especially following the death of a 31-year-old British woman in a similar surgery a few years back. So right now, they are undergoing investigation. The person is currently, she had fled before, but she was found. She fled after she lost the patient, but she's been found, and we're waiting to see justice being served. And we're hoping that this will deter other people that might be quacks or not following the right procedure from doing it as well.
Okay, Daily Sun, outrage as NNPC marketers hike petrol price to 897 naira per litre. Corporal killed as gunmen bomb Anambra Police Station Civic Center. Economy, Tinubu didn't promise silver bullet, says Finance Minister. Nigerian military capable of containing banditry, says Marwa. Ganduje's aide slams APC North Central chair over utterances. Yobe attacks amnesty puts death toll at 127,034 victims buried. Let me take that again. Yobe attack amnesty puts death toll as 127. However, 37 victims have been buried. PDP governors groups knock Wike over threat to cause crisis in state. Okay, which story are you taking, son?
Police corporal has been killed yesterday following an attack and bombing of police divisional headquarters of Oba Idemili South local government area of Anambra State. And this was done, they say, by suspected secessionist gunmen. They said the gunmen also attacked the Oba Civic Center which is managed by the town union leadership of the community. Sources are saying that the gunmen, they were heavily armed. They stormed the area in the early hours of yesterday, launching ferocious attack on the police division. The Anambra State Police Public Relations Officer confirmed this incident, and he disclosed that the security force comprising of the Army, Navy, Civil Defense, and other agencies were already conducting a joint operation in Obafor and its environs. So they're saying that this had to do with this suspected armed secessionists have to do with Simon Ekpa, the leader of, this secessionist movement, and they said that because they've had like a month-long hostility between them and Simon Ekpa, so they believe this has to do with that. But investigation is still ongoing. This corporal, they said he was at the center when, they attacked, and he was wounded, and eventually he lost his life. The police are saying that as far as they're concerned, if you attack, when you attack the police, you are attacking on the attack is on the soul of the nation, and they have vowed that they will bring the perpetrators of this crime to book.
I want to take the story from the chairman and chief executive officer of the Nigerian National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA. So, Brigadier General Mohammed Marwa gave a statement while showing his support. He was at the speaking at the commendation for the National Counterterrorism Center. Major General Adamu Laka. He paid a visit, and in the conversation he said that the Nigerian military has the power and the capability to overcome the banditry that we're experiencing, and he said they just need our support. He said he remembered when he was the the defense advisor to he recalled during his tenure as defense advisor at the permanent mission in the UN that Nigeria, while working in the ECOMOG, the memories are still fresh, and how Nigerian army can actually overcome banditry. And they only just need Nigerians to support them, stand by them. He said the man for man, officer to officer, soldier to soldier, the Nigerian army personnel are able to match and overcome any bandit that is operating within Nigeria. He was saying this because there was a viral video where bandits took over this military armor vehicle that they caught, and there was a video of them celebrating that they've taken over the armor vehicle. And he said, yes, that might have happened, but these people need our support. The patriotism, the professionalism, the daily sacrifice in their efforts to combat banditry in the northwest and other regions of Nigeria should be celebrated and applauded, and not just taken for granted that they can do it. So I also support that move. They are giving a lot of sacrifice, and they should be supported by Nigerians as much as possible.
So the Minister of Finance and the Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Mr. Wale Adun, who was represented by the agents, I think they're trying to get her name, Grace Ugbonna, I believe. She's the Director of Economic Research and Policy Management in the Ministry of Finance, and she was representing him at a conference of the Nigeria Economic Society, NES, where quite a number of people were there, representatives, government agencies, renowned economists, captains of industries, academia, corporate organizations were all seated, where he acknowledged that the Nigerian economy obviously lacks production. One of the key indices that we're having issues with is the fact that Nigeria economy lacks production, diversification, and low production. We also have the challenge of price stability, high inflation, exchange rate depreciation, energy challenge, and debt management. And all these are being addressed currently by the tough decisions the government had to make. And they are reassuring Nigerians that these decisions would help strengthen our economy going forward to create jobs and stabilize our economy. Okay, moving on now to Vanguard. Anger trails rise in pump price of petrol to 855 naira to the litre. PDP governors vow to continue supporting Fubara and Flay Wike. Soaring prices, FCCPC back down on price control. FERC will determine price of our petrol, says Dangote. Which story?
Yeah, so I have the story of the FCCPC. They said the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission has said it will not regulate market prices. Of course, right now, I'm sure because of the hiking for right now. So they said instead it will enforce laws against practices that undermine fair competition. And he said while promoting competition is essential for economic health, he said, like the telecommunications, it is equally important to enforce laws against practices that undermine fair competition. He said it has given a 1-month moratorium before enforcement begins, providing businesses with the necessary time to adjust their practices and ensure full compliance. He said the FCCPC remains committed to a balanced approach that respects the dynamics of a free market while ensuring that consumers are protected from harmful practices. So let's see how that goes.
Okay, so yesterday, the chairman of Dangote Refinery was speaking. He said that the pricing, because everybody's asking, how much will Dangote sell his fuel? So he said that the pricing will be determined by FEC, that's the Federal Executive Council. He mentioned this during the press briefing yesterday and saying that it's an arrangement between FEC, led by, of course, our president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He said as soon as NNPC, they finish with NNPC, hopefully today or tomorrow, which was yesterday or today, there will be an announcement made to know what the official pricing will be. He said that from the petrol plant, in terms of quality, the quality of the petrol he's producing can compete with products from all refineries across the world. On the time frame of the petrol, he said announcement will be made also after the meeting with NNPC, either yesterday or today. So we're hoping today, as soon as it is finalized, the president would let us know, so we'll know when we can start receiving the petrol from Dangote Refinery. Let's see how much time we have left. Okay, 2 more minutes. Let's move on quickly now to the Nigerian Tribune. Let's find the story we've not taken. Collier Shaw's demise. Makinde, Ladoja, others mourn. PDP governors blast Wike over irresponsible threat. IGP, police mute over tenure extension, says federal government has final say. Okay,
I have that. So the force headquarters on Tuesday, they said they have kept mute over the rumored tenure extension granted the Inspector General of Police by our president, saying that he was not competent to address the matter. So the questions that were being asked of the force PRO, Assistant Commissioner of Police, and he appealed to journalists to please redirect their inquiries to the presidency and the police council. According to him, this issue of tenure extension for the IGP is not for the Nigerian police force to handle. This should be directed to the presidency and police council. The two bodies have the final say. However, a senior police officer told the papers that the IGP's tenure is not being extended as he was yet to finish his 4-year tenure in line with the Police Act as amended. He says that, there's no truth about what has been touted about tenure extension. The IGP has a tenure of 4 years as stipulated by the new Police Act. He's a civil servant and not a political appointee like ministers. Social media had gone to town, saying that social media has gone to town with this news, so they are not properly informed. People should be educated that there is no extension of tenure, but that he was just he's still on his 4-term tenure, and that is what he's going to complete based on the amendment.
I wish when we make new laws, we'll just say it take effect after the current one, so that we won't be having this kind of conversation about
that is all we can take on Front Page Review. As I said earlier, Nigerians are talking about nothing else today except NNPCL's increased pump price to 855 naira per litre. The Dangote Refinery commenced yesterday. When are Nigerians getting the fuel? How is it being distributed? What's the price of Dangote's fuel? All these are what Nigerians are asking, and this is the only show where Nigerians call in to express their views. We'll be opening our phone lines, but first we're going to break. We're going to come back and bring in our resource to have this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Global Entrepreneurship Festival to be hosted at the Entrepreneurship Village in Nigeria, November 22nd to the 24th. Join world leaders, heads of state, diplomats, ministers, governors, investors, policymakers, tech leaders, organizations, startups, and entrepreneurs from all over the world. To attend, visit www.globalentrepreneurshipfestival.com. For partnerships, call 234-912-165-9914. Over 20 million viewers, 5,000 event participants, 200 exhibitors, 43 global speakers, and 12 events, which includes conferences, trade fairs, innovation and robotics expo, art and creative exhibitions, a dazzling fashion show, and a closing concert. All in one global festival. Don't miss it.
Hey, my people, I greet you plenty. My name is Nachika Okeke.
My name na Uwi Balogun.
My name is Damilola Banire.
My name na Moyo Faraway Ahmed. If you also call me Moyo, listen.
And this na Abigail.
And I dare on top your view pigeon.
I'm going to bring you bass, boost. I don't get person will be single mother before. He carry another man show, say, now my husband be this.
This na wetin you want.
After that day, the man
no go see him again.
If you snooze, you lose. If you miss this show, you miss out. On top this our show, I not dey gree for anybody.
When they find the husband, you not see sign say the guy smart, you don't vex, don't use signs.
If they look for person we go give them to you, fact as it be.
Men no they ever get fault. If baby not there for her,
na
the woman.
Talk no dey be person, you make person no fit talk through inside. But for this country, we not say if we open court in the morning, waiting no good, no good.
Me and my sisters, hey, we go tanda gidigba for inside studio to give una all the latest information.
We not even take responsibility for the children. Leave the man.
And that's some poria.
Welcome to Pure Entertainment. What would you like to order from our menu today? We have the regulars.
So let me go and look for my jam results.
My 280 was 320. I suppose don't be one medical.
You be like person without budget. At this point, I contest my jam results.
I want to close the show.
I can go.
I can. That's all we can take. Ejeki, close the show. Give for that.
Ladies and gentlemen, number one, Unavailable by Davido featuring Musa Keys.
We also have today's chef special.
Yo, shine, 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 shiny, yeah. Say recap done, and it's time for number one on the countdown. One of Nigeria's hottest artists right now, his name is Rema, and this one is called Charm. Kick it.
Another.
For dessert and a bit of nightcap, we have the nighttime and online specials.
I want to start the gym, yeah? But do you know one thing that's actually keeping me back?
You should start the gym though, you're getting fat.
Cricket.
She says she does pole dancing to empower women.
What's the difference?
There's a difference.
That's what I'm saying. So pole dancer, you're already almost naked.
You're already almost naked.
No, it's the empowerment for me.
Sex can make a relationship better.
No.
Sex can never be overrated.
It is needed.
Especially when it's good sex too. Almost every guy has been with somebody's girlfriend.
But they are for all of us now.
That's why you're still single.
I would not agree or disagree with that because I don't want to get into trouble. I have a home to go to.
Your next question.
Oh, you ready to fail?
Who is the better? You scissors. What is his name?
That woman.
Bam! Bam!
Yeah, today we'll go here.
Hey.
Let's get talking.
I'm sure we've been able to satisfy your cravings, yeah?
Thanks for staying with us. So as promised, the issue of fuel scarcity is a major concern. So amidst the lingering fuel scarcity in the country, the NNPCL yesterday increased the pump price of petrol from 568 naira to 855 naira per litre. In recent months, fuel scarcity has hit major cities across the country, with attendant effects on the businesses and households across board. Also, yesterday, the chairman of Dangote Industries Limited, Aliko Dangote, officially announced the commencement of petrol production at his refinery. Now, to help Nigerians have an understanding of what is going on, there are two key issues here. The NNPC first saying that they're owing some IOC $6 billion, and now they've increased pump price to over 800 naira per litre. And now we're supposed to be celebrating Dangote's production of refined fuels, PMS. But that, for whatever reason, we're not celebrating because there are queues in the filling stations. So joining us to give us clarity on this conversation is a journalist, Mr. Majid Jamiu. Welcome to the show.
Good morning.
It's a pleasure to have you.
Good morning.
So let's start with Dangote. Then we'll come to NNPC and the issues around it, because yesterday for me was supposed to be a day of celebration, a landmark announcement, what we've been waiting for, but there was a lot of dullness. From the press briefing, Dangote said quite a few things, that his fuel would compete globally, reduce the demand for forex, so much stuff was said. What are your thoughts on this, on the commencement yesterday, and how should that help us eventually?
Yes, I think I congratulate Dangote for achieving that feat, despite all odds. At the point, he almost became a civil society person. I mean, the way he was frustrated. I mean, it shows that we have this cabal in the oil industry. Just, they are as vicious as what we have in the drug industry. So, the cartels everywhere. So, but this one is like an organized cartel. So, the success we have recorded as Nigerians, with Dangote being the first refinery to be able to crack petrol in Nigeria in 28 years, is a mean feat. But then, it does not mean all our petroleum problems are solved, because he must sell his products. He's in business to make profit, so we must understand that. But then, like he said yesterday, he said it's the president, or rather the federal government, that will determine the price, because no reasonable government will leave the pricing of petroleum products, which is a very critical commodity, in the hands of a monopoly or an individual. It will be too dangerous. He can decide to say he wants to sell at 1,200 and won't have a choice. And petrol is not something you can just snap your finger and import. So we are stuck with Dangote. But then I think there might be some hope. But Dangote mentioned something about tracking his trucks, saying that I'm a bit enthusiastic. But then as long as we have some middlemen, some unscrupulous security agencies who will allow trucks, thousands of trucks, to be smuggled out of the country, then we'll be back to square one. Even if Dangote gives us 50 million liters per day, it won't solve our problem. It means as long as people want to profit from selling across the border, instead of selling right here in Nigeria. We might not feel it much in Lagos and the Southwest, and probably Abuja, but in the other parts of the country and the other states that are closer to the border, you see some marketers owning filling stations. They will have one NNPC station, then they have 2 or 3 others that are not branded NNPC. They will collect a truck with 33,000 liters meant for NNPC, and you will never get fuel in that NNPC station, which is supposed to sell at when it was.
I'd like the ladies to jump in here, but there's something you said that I'd like to. I'm hoping, because when I watched the documentary on I think which country is it, Dubai, one of these UAE states, where they were showing us the back end of their petroleum.
That's Saudi.
I think Saudi, yes. Aramco. Now, So when I understand tracking, what I'm thinking in my head, there is a dashboard that says, okay, I have 3,000 trucks going out. I can see where they're going. So even if that happens, if that truck gets to that, then we will know if it's been diverted and we can measure and we can then check it. What do you think?
Yeah, you see, for us in Nigeria, I mean, you do some things that you think are foolproof.
Yeah.
I'm so smart.
Yes. We are not so.
Let's not preempt the worst. Let's
we are but I mean, these are my fears.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. So I just hope we'll be able to also actually do the tracking. Okay, now you track to an NNPC scenario because now NNPC will buy PMS from Dangote 100% to be able to control. But now,
do you believe that is the right move though? Because I'm a bit concerned that one, it is strictly being sold to NNPC PLC, and the price is going to be determined by the Federal Executive Council. Where's the free market in the? Where is the free market? Where is the business?
You can't do free market. We did free market for the other day, and we're all complaining of how the market forces. So how do you do it? We can't afford it.
Government must subsidize a particular product one time or the other. Like also agriculture, government must subsidize agriculture by probably farm implement, seeds, improve seedlings and stuff like that, research and development. The same way, government cannot allow petroleum products very, very critical, especially petrol. And you can see queues at filling stations, you can see the destruction, you can see fewer cars on the roads, you can see the man hours being spent at filling stations. So it's better for you to control the price and manage it than to leave it for the free market. The consequences will be too much to bear.
Can you explain to me, a layman here, where one of the reasons for subsidy, that we've always had is where, the prices of refining petroleum is much expensive, and then the logistics of bringing it to Africa and to Nigeria, all that, impact on the price that we eventually get. So here I am thinking some of those external factors do not apply here because we're refining our crude oil in our country and the cost of logistics is not the same. So why do we still need subsidy, and why would the pricing be such that it will be almost part of what we're doing right now instead of much cheaper anyway coming from a refinery based in Nigeria?
Yeah, it's easy to answer that question. I'm trying to look at how to break it down now. Crude oil is an international price. It's an international community. The commodity. So it's not Nigeria that determines the price. And the process of getting a barrel of crude oil, you should factor the amount you buy a rig that you use in exploring that oil, and the number of expatriates you put on the job. So the cost of getting one barrel of crude oil is put at about between $25 and $30. Okay. So, and from one barrel of crude oil, you get about 170 liters of petrol, jet A1 or diesel. Mm-hmm. So when you break this down, the process of refining, and you can see how much Dangote spent in building that refinery. Yeah. And you can see petrol is the most complex to crack, so to say. So that's why you can see Dangote's petrol, the one it displayed yesterday, almost crystal clear. That's the highest grade of petrol. And you see some diesel, it's almost brown. You can see his own diesel, almost crystal clear. So yeah, I saw that. It's the best grade, Euro standard. So it comes at a cost. So you can't...
So you're saying that there's still more factors that would affect the price
several factors. Although we'll be able to cut some costs in terms of the cost of importation, then the cost of also storing in some tanks. Dangote has capacity to store the petroleum products that can sustain Nigeria at probably 30-40 million liters per day for 30 days. He has that storage capacity.
Okay, so you came earlier on the show. You said that you're happy that Dangote Refinery has started, but at the same time, you said it's not totally going to solve the problems we are going to face in Nigeria. So, what do you foresee as the problem that's going to come later on?
Just the usual Nigerian problem. Some people who are used to profiting from the subsidy regime. I mean, these are mostly civil servants now, and also some cabals who knows that they normally have some cuts from fuel importation. Now, that is almost eliminated. And at times past, they tell you Nigeria consumes about 100 million liters of petrol per day. But since May 29, when Ashwadi Bola Tinubu announced a removal of the subsidy, we see that crashing down to an average of about 33-40 million liters. So the extra 60 million or thereabout that we've been subsidizing, where were those ones going to? So that's why I said earlier that except we are able to check smuggling. So now if you stop the excess that they say we are consuming, because as of today, NNPC cannot even tell us how much we are consuming. But I think with Dangote now, since it's going to be the sole producer and supplier of PMS, we should be able to track how much volume we consume, because they said for September, it's going to be doing 25 million liters per day and graduate to 30 million liters per day in October. So we want to know if that will be sufficient or not.
Let me go on a short break. When we come back, we continue this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Entertainment to me is everything. Entertainment is surrounding myself with loved ones, family, watching some good television shows, TV series, listening to good music, and taking a trip around the world, seeing new places and interacting with different people, and also having a feel of different culture and people all around the world. So for me, I would say entertainment is life. It's larger than life.
Global Entrepreneurship Festival, to be hosted at the Entrepreneurship Village in Nigeria, November 22nd to the 24th. Join world leaders, heads of state, diplomats, ministers, governors, investors, policymakers, tech leaders, organizations, startups, and entrepreneurs from all over the world. To attend, visit www.globalentrepreneurshipfestival.com. For partnerships, call 234-912-165-9914. Over 20 million viewers, 5,000 event participants, 200 exhibitors, 43 global speakers, and 12 events, which includes conferences, trade fairs, innovation and robotics expo, art and creative exhibitions, a dazzling fashion show, and a closing concert. All in one global festival. Don't miss it.
I'm Miriam Lunge. I'm a passionate environment advocate and a published author.
I am the founder of Celebration, a businesswoman, and a fashion icon.
I am a wealth coach and a real estate developer.
I am Amako Arakwe. I'm a corporate commercial lawyer and an entrepreneur.
Barkamu da warhaka. I am Ramatu Shehu Oyibo, an entrepreneur and a business coach.
I am the voice of an average Muslim woman, an hijabite, and a lawyer.
I am a polymath and a serial entrepreneur.
I am Murayo Afolabi Brown, Managing Director, TVC Entertainment. I'm a media consultant, producer, and broadcaster.
The ladies of Your View are made of women from different professions, tribes, cultures, and religion. Join us every Monday to Friday as we share our views on topical and social issues.
Ladies and gentlemen, make welcome the grand comedian of
Thanks for staying with us. We're still discussing Dangote Refinery and we're still discussing NNPC increase in pump price. Let me come to you.
Just before we went to the break, you were talking about how the NNPC has been unable to clearly or categorically mention the volume of PMS we are consuming on a daily basis. And I think I've heard this since all my adult life. I've heard that we don't know what our consumption is. At a point when they said when subsidy goes, we will know what our consumption is. And still we don't. Are we condoning the inefficiency? Do you think that Nigeria sort of condoned inefficiency from NNPC for so long? And then we've also heard about the cabal. Do you believe the cabal is inside the NNPC or the cabal is adjacent NNPC that is causing the NNPC to get a proper grip on things?
This cabal, they don't work alone. They are both inside, adjacent, in the corridor, and around the NNPC. I mean, it's like a network. I mean, you can imagine some officials of government accusing the Dangote refinery of going to be a monopoly. When you have 4 refineries of your own that you cannot
you don't get it to work.
You can't get it to work.
And I'll be in a business
for more than 25 years. So, if you want to break its monopoly, then make your own work now.
Exactly.
Just simple logic. Now, they can see the battle he fought. It can agree to give him truth, which they said they will start by October now or thereabout. So, the cabals are right there in the NNPC. And these are the same people who collected $1.5 billion for a turnaround maintenance of Port Harcourt Refinery.
They never produced.
The Port Harcourt Refinery, we have 2 refineries there. One is old and one is new. And you decided that you start with the old one, which produces just 60,000 barrels per day, and you left the one that can give you 110,000 barrels, which of course can give you a faster turnaround maintenance period. So I don't see any logic in that. In December, they celebrated the quote-unquote mechanical completion of the turnaround of the 60,000 barrels.
And yet we still
today is 4th of September. Not a single drop of whether diesel, which is the least. I mean, you can refine crude. You can diesel. You can get diesel from your backyard, which is what they do in those illegal refineries. But you can't crack petrol. Somebody said we can never crack petrol in that particular refinery.
Wow.
Yes.
I'd like us to, as Miriam said earlier, let's break it down, because one of the reasons why we like this show is that the average person out there can understand. There's just hearing NNPC, just hearing Dangote Refinery, it still doesn't sink in. They're saying $8.55 at the pump price. That's all they understand. I want you to help us break it down, because yesterday or 2 days ago, NNPC said, oh, we are owing $6 billion. Bayo Nonuga came the next to say, oh, you see, we told you that we removed subsidy. Now you can tell that we really, because there was speculations that they didn't really remove subsidy, we're still paying. Said we couldn't have been paying subsidy because it's not in our budget. We don't have accommodation for it at all, allocation for it in our budget, so there was no way we could have paid. Now that NNPC has come out to say they're owing $6 billion, you can see that's where the money is. Now, day or 4th day, NNPC now raised the pump price to $8.55, and I'm thinking, oh, are we the ones going to pay for your $6 billion? I mean, what is going on exactly? So help us break it down. What happened? What went wrong? And why are we seeing $8.55 naira at the pump price.
Please, and how is the federal government not aware of the increase of pump price at the NNPC stations?
Yeah, NNPC is I don't know, is a very complex structure, which I don't really seem to understand. There's something Yoruba people call aditu. The more you try to understand NNPC, the more you get confused.
The more you see, the less you see.
2 weeks ago,
the less you understand.
2 weeks ago, probably more you forgot to add that. 2 weeks ago, this same NNPC told us that they declared 3-point-something trillion.
Yes.
Yes.
We read it here.
So, and we're all clapping. Say, NNPC.
From where?
How? Now, that one was like a teaser. To Bewamora, to bring us closer. It's like somebody wants to give you a head knock. They were trying to entice you. Now, the following week, they came with, we are owing $6 billion. That's $6 billion has more than eroded
the entire profit
they claim to have declared. Now, a week later, yesterday, they came with the final bank, 855 naira per litre. Go. So, it's like, it's a chronology preparing us. It's honestly, if I were the president, I don't see what the NNPC management is doing there.
Yeah. Everybody go.
Honestly.
Yes.
Now, to break it down, NNPC, in fact, from what some economic analysts rolled out, the landing cost, if we were to be importing, the landing cost of 1 litre of petrol should be about 1,150 naira. That's the analysis, and that is the fact, that is the truth. But like I said earlier, everywhere in the world, government subsidizes one aspect of the economy or the other. It could be agriculture, it could be electricity, it could be education, it could be health.
One of my major concerns, Toko said it earlier, concerning the fact that Dangote is waiting for the presidency to give us a price. But the truth is that, I can understand the reasoning. I'm giving you crude in naira. This is something that's not been done in like a gazillion years. I think it was Obasanjo that did it over. Yeah. We are giving you crude. There's got to be a concession. I'm going to tell you how much you're going to charge my people.
Correct.
But my worry is the PMS Dangote has today is the one he imported though. It's not the one Nigeria giving. So how is he going to make his profit? Because what we have right now is what he imported with
you mean the crude oil?
The crude oil that he's using, that with the PMS that he's saying was imported.
No. Basically, NNPC gave in 6 million barrels.
Okay.
Yes, to start with, but the 6 million barrels was not enough because
run it.
Yeah. So because if you want to start for a 650,000 barrel capacity per day, he is only firing at about 50% capacity now, installed capacity, which is about 350. That's why, because by the time it goes full blast, a refinery, especially when you are cracking petrol, you cannot stop for a second. So that's why you must be sure of enough stock of crude that can last him for like 30 days. So that he knows that even if there are shortfalls in the blood, because you see, to pump 1 million barrels of crude oil into a vessel takes minimum for the fastest pumps, and depending on the number of rig heads you are pumping from, takes about probably 12 hours, between 12 and 24 hours. At times, it depends on the capacity of the suction into those vessels too. It could take 3 days. So that's why at times you get worried that a vessel that is as big as a stadium will come and steal crude, and it's not something that you just come in and plug. Like even if you are buying 20 liters in a petrol station, it will take you about 5 minutes for it to be dispensed. What a vessel of 800,000, 1 million barrel capacity will come and steal crude. It's not parking under a tree, and it will disappear. And they said our crude have been stolen. And I wonder. So a lot of things are wrong. That's why it is difficult. It's a whole complex gamut that is difficult to understand. It's difficult for the ordinary man in the street to understand why we are paying this much.
I'd like to open our phone lines
for PMS.
For our viewers to call in. Please call us on the numbers you screen so that you can join the conversation. We'd like to hear some questions from you.
You're always talking about breaking it down. So the reality of many Nigerians is that every time there is a queue, there would be fuel increase. We've seen that, and it seemed like they would make it when you, after you've suffered to queue, you would not mind the increase in price of fuel. And based on analysis, even from what you've said, we've not picked, like we're not at the accurate price that petrol should be selling for right now. There still seem to be elements of subsidy going on in terms of the price it should go for. So the average Nigerian is wondering at what point will we be able to plan? Because businesses are forecasting. You're planning for the next 3 months. You're trying to put your budget. You earn your salary. You want to know how much transportation will be. If you have a car, you want to know how much you should budget for your fuel for the month. And right now, it looks like what you planned cannot be planning anymore. So the Nigerian watching this show is wondering at what point what should I peg my fuel consumption to be at?
Yeah, for now, I mean, I would say in the next 3-4 months, people should plan around 1,000 per liter. But then we have you see, like you said earlier, we have a very funny practice in this country. You make people suffer, queue, then the thing will go to 855, then the president will come and say, I've discussed with Dangote, now it's going to be selling at 700. What they had in mind in ab initio was 700 naira. But they will take it to 900. Then neighbor will come and fight. The government said they won't increase this thing, and they will start negotiating. Because if they put it at 700,
we will complain.
People will complain. So that has always been the strategy, but it's not working. We are wiser. People know all these things. But basically, you see, oil is an international commodity. It's not water that you can just dig a well and get.
Okay.
It goes through a lot of processes.
I have to go on a short break.
The pricing is not in our hands.
Let me go on a very short break. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your view will be right back.
Confidence is important in life's little moments. Strong teeth.
Global Entrepreneurship Festival to be hosted at the Entrepreneurship Village in Nigeria, November 22nd to the 24th. Join world leaders, heads of state, diplomats, ministers, governors, investors, policymakers, tech leaders, organizations, startups, and entrepreneurs from all over the world. To attend, visit www.globalentrepreneurshipfestival.com. For partnerships, call 234-912-165-9914. Over 20 million viewers, 5,000 event participants, 200 exhibitors, 43 global speakers, and 12 events, which includes conferences, trade fairs, innovation and robotics expo, art and creative exhibitions, a dazzling fashion show, and a closing concert. All in one global festival. Don't miss it.
Hey, my people, I greet you plenty.
My name is Nachika Okeke.
My name na Uwi Balogun.
My name na Damilola Banire.
My name na Moyo Faraway Ahmed. If you also call me Moyo, listen.
And this na Abigail.
And I dare on top of you, pigeon.
I'm going to bring you bass, boost. I don't get person will be single mother before. He carry another man show, say, now my husband be this.
This na wetin you want.
After that day, the man
you no go see am again.
If you snooze, you lose. If you miss this show, you miss out. On top this our show, I not dey gree for anybody.
When you dey friend the husband, you not see sign say the guy small thing, you don't vex, don't give him signs.
If they look for person, we will give them to you. Fact as it be.
Men no dey ever
never get fault. If baby not there for her, na the woman.
Talk no dey be person, you make person no fit talk true inside. But for this country, we know say if we open curtain in the morning, waiting no good, no good.
Me and my sisters, hey, we go tanda gidigba for inside studio to give una all the latest information.
Look, we not even take responsibility for the children. Leave the man.
And that's some poria.
Ladies and gentlemen, make welcome the grand comedian of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Gbenga Adeyinka, the first. OJ right here, 7 of 7, like you already know.
Gbenga right here, 7 of 7, like I'm beginning to know.
It's now time for the questions.
You don't scare me one bit.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still discussing NNPC and Dangote Refinery. Number 2 had a question. Go ahead.
So as it is right now, I'm a bit shaky with the fact that we are trying to depend solely on Dangote to provide this petrol to Nigerians and all. And I'm thinking, what if something goes wrong along the line right now? Because right now there's scarcity, there's everything, and we are just depending on him. What if he starts and then something goes wrong? How do we, as a nation, how do we now come in to avoid this kind of thing?
Bank on the monopoly of Dangote.
Yeah, no, I said something earlier. I said Dangote has a storage capacity
30 days
for that can store refined products for 30 days.
Okay.
So, I mean, that one is almost taken care of. So, if there is a breakdown or a shortfall in supplies, it has both the capacity to store crude oil that can feed the stock for 30 days and also a storage capacity for finished products, especially PMS, that can stand, that can give us a 30-day supply.
Yeah.
So I think he has taken care of
that.
All of that.
Let me take Pastor Joseph. He's been holding for a while. Good morning, Pastor Joseph. You're live. Pastor Joseph, good morning. You're live. Hello. Go ahead, Mariam.
Okay. So my question is, as much as I wanted us to really celebrate what I believe is a huge win. I mean, the fears are valid. But so one of my fears really is we saw the challenges that he sort of had to overcome before we got to this point. So my problem is, as with a lot of times that's happened in Nigeria, is that policies keep changing. What ways do you think that the Dangote Refinery may be affected by policy change? Especially, as I hear, if you have a refinery in the country, you must make sure that local demand is met before you can export. In what ways do you think policies can affect this part of his business? And what are the things that an independent refinery in any country can do to protect itself from changing policies?
Yes, I blame Dangote for relying solely on supply from NNPC for its crude stock. Of course, naturally, it should be given.
Exactly.
It should get it should get the right of first refusal for, and that's what the PIA law says, that local refineries, not Dangote alone. We have some blending. We have some modular refineries. With a combined capacity of about 5 or 6 of them, the combined capacity of about 50,000 barrels, of course. But for Dangote, is 650,000. A government policy that will affect that kind of business will have to be deeply thought out, because Dangote now is like a first bank to the banking industry.
Yeah.
First Bank is of systemic importance. The CBN cannot allow it to fail. So we must continue to make sure it's okay. So the same way, Dangote Refinery now is of systemic importance to the energy sector in Nigeria. So policies
must support
Dangote Refinery, because look at what Otedola wrote yesterday. I read that letter more than 3 times. He said 25 years ago he wanted to acquire NNPC owned refinery. They kicked against him. In fact, at the time he bought it, 2 of them formed a consortium. They bought it, and policy reversal. But I think he should thank his stars for not even buying those moribund refineries then. Yeah. Now he has his own. So he should have a backup plan, because honestly, NNPC has sold our crude in exchange for this 60 billion they are talking about till June next year. I mean, some maybe 100,000, they have committed 100,000 barrels per day. For some, it is 90,000 barrels per day. But cumulatively, if you look at it, probably about 400,000 barrels per day till June next year.
Let me take this call from Hassan. He's been holding. Good morning, Hassan. Thanks for calling. Hello, Hassan. Someone on the phone lines. Hello, Hassan. Can you hear me?
There's something wrong with that.
Okay, I think we're having issues. Now, let me just talk as a Nigerian in La La Land, you know, just this hour, let me just think, let me just dream. The positive, what I'm thinking, the silver lining I'm foreseeing, that this NNPC phase will phase out in the sense that, okay, they are the sole importers currently from international refiners. Now, currently what they have, they're trying to sell it off. Now, crude has been given to Dangote, a Nigerian. So eventually, when Dangote starts to refine our own crude, I expect that based on what meeting he has with the president, they're able to say, okay, Dangote, based on the fact that I'm giving you this in Naira, sell to Nigerians at 200 Naira, just in my head. Just sell to them, okay, 300 Naira, right? Now, unfortunately, NNPC still has their own backlog, as you said, right? So they have to keep selling at 850. But we can now start going, maybe not all stations would have Dangote's petrol. But gradually, more Nigerians will now start becoming other banks. You know, Dangote is the first bank. The other banks, like the GT banks and Zenith Bank, will now start coming in. Other modular refineries start getting bigger, getting the crude at the same price as Dangote. And then, hopefully, NNPC will now have serious competition. That's what I'm just thinking in my head. That this time next year, we might start buying fuel at a very reasonable, like maybe 200, 300 Naira per, because it's our...
Let me also...
That's the La La Land thing in my head.
Still within the La La Land area, is it possible for any private importer to compete with the current NNPC structure?
It's almost impossible.
Okay.
Almost impossible. Diesel has been deregularized a long time ago. That's why you see diesel almost available, very stable. So, but for petrol, like I said, you can get diesel and even kerosene from these illegal refineries. But you can't crack petrol like that. Even the one, I mean, we've heard the stories about the ones that is petrol coming to Nigeria, they had to go and blend it in Malta. Yes, I mean, it's not the perfect grade. They had to bring it from some places and blend it to meet, to conform to. There was a time in Nigeria we had this smelling fuel with foul odor, petrol. About 10, 15 years back. But so that's why petrol is such complex. But for your La La Land 200, 300, I doubt if it will happen in this century, because Dangote is not a Father Christmas. You have to look, if you invest $20 billion in the project, the minimum modular refinery will cost, that will give you 10, 20, that can refine 10, 20,000 barrels of crude per day, will cost a minimum of $2 billion. So that kind of investment cannot even refine petrol. So, and petrol is the one that is most complex. So, I doubt
Naira, except Naira appreciates. If Naira
appreciates, even if Naira appreciates, it still behoves on us to look at the price of the international price of crude oil. which determines some of these things. Because you have to factor in the cost of producing 1 barrel. I mean, it's not as if you factor in this cost of production on a daily basis.
Right.
So when we are selling crude oil, when crude oil is selling at $80 per barrel, it is not the $80 that is coming to Nigeria. A certain percentage is going to joint venture owners, international companies, then a percentage is set aside for the production cost.
Let me take Gunan from Benue. Thanks for calling. You're live. Good morning, Gunan.
Good morning.
Is it Banang?
Yes, Gunan. I'm calling from Benue State.
Sounds like
concerning the poor of the sea.
Yeah.
But we are really suffering in Benue State. In short, the whole country is suffering. This issue of subsidy. I can always remember when Sam David West told us that there was nothing like subsidy in Nigeria. Sam David West repeated vehemently that there was nothing like subsidy in Nigeria. But I was surprised Nigeria could not call down Sam David West to come and prove that how come there was no subsidy. And now and again, Dangote wants to give us fuel. Barely 24 hours for Dangote to start selling fuel for us. NNPC went and said that they are selling fuel at 880 something naira. If I were Tinubu should help Nigeria. All the management of NNPC should be sacked. Because the management of NNPC, they are the main cause of our problems here in Nigeria. They are the cause of our problems. They have a fishing deal that they are doing into that NNPC. And since nobody touches them, they feel that they are the omegas of this country. So Nigeria and Tinubu, if you really want to help us, and my sincere prayer is for Alhaji Dangote to actually know the true cost of his production. And it's fair to win the poor Nigerians. If not, my dear sister, I'm talking to you, I have not eaten today. I'm waiting for where I will get my milk meal. The food is there, but the money is my car. One of my cars is even packed. That is the only car that I have. I'm even wondering, I like to change my daughter's school where she is to bring her close to where I am. Whether the standard is good or the standard is not good. But that amount of fuel, who can be able? And most of the time, some of us, it's not everybody that is a government worker. They bring up policies. We that are not government workers, what is the benefit that we are benefiting from this country? They will say, grant this, grant that, grant this, grant that. We don't see it. So what is the problem?
Thank you very much, Gunan.
Tinubu.
Thank you very much, Gunan. I mean, that's a Nigerian expression.
So those are the issues, economic impact, and how it affects the everyday man in his own house. To the point that, earlier we were talking about, previously on an issue we talked about schools, some of the things that are affecting, the decisions we're making. And she's talking about how petrol is going to affect to the choice of school her child goes. So for me, that's why I wanted to talk about what the benefit will be having a Dangote, because he had talked about demand for forex will be reduced by 40%. What does that translate to a Nigerian? Why should that make a Nigerian happy? Does it have any direct benefit to the Nigerian on the streets hearing that?
Yes, I think now that we won't have to depend on imported fuel, which is subjected to, Nigeria pays about $660 million every month on fuel importation.
Yeah.
Now, that will drastically reduce to probably about less than $50 million or thereabouts. And also this novel idea by the president to initiate this Naira for crude will also save us some, no matter how minimal, some resources, some Naira stroke dollars, because before now, if Dangote were to buy even the crude oil, he would have to go through JP Morgan or Bank of America to pay to them as the arbitrator or as the correspondent bank. But now it's Afrexim Bank with some Nigerian banks that will ensure that a line of credit is opened by Dangote with NNPC in exchange for crude, while NNPC also opens a line of credit with Dangote. All
Let me
are
pause you
arranged
for a
by-
second, sir. I'm sorry. Eric has been holding quite from Port Harcourt. Good morning, Eric. Hello, Eric, you're live. Good morning, Eric. I wanted to just ensure our viewers are also part of the conversation. Go ahead. Let me.
So the Naira for crude will save us the cost of importing, the days, paying for vessels, shipping and all that, then the tank farms that the NNPC hires to store these products.
Mr. Jami, let me poke that a bit, because I know that, as I said before, in the past, it's not so novel because it's happened in the past, and I think either Basanjo, one of the former presidents, was one that turned it over.
Yes.
There was a time where we were selling crude to Nigerians in Naira. And then these Nigerians, unscrupulous elements, started this thing they get in Naira locally, they start exporting it because they know it's in demand in other countries. And then so we're losing money, we're losing crude to Nigerians. So I think I'm trying to remember the story, the article I read. So my worry is that Dangote, yes, gets this crude in Naira. Now, if once things stabilize, the fear many are having is that once things stabilize, maybe 1 or 2 years, Dangote might start taking this crude he's getting for cheap, exporting it to other countries for it to refine and making his own product. As he's a capitalist, he has to make back his $20 billion. So
Why
is
would
that?
he do that?
I'm just saying that was one of the problems. That's what happened before. I was told where Obasanjo now flipped it over, where you now have to start selling it directly to international oil companies.
What used to happen was the federal government gave NNPC a concession. That's when our 4 refineries were still working. We call it crude swap, not in Naira. Crude swap, NNPC gets 445,000 barrels, which is the installed capacity of the 4 refineries, the 2 in Port Harcourt, 1 in Warri and 1 in Kaduna. That's when they were still producing. That's before 20 years. They have not produced much since then. So what NNPC was doing then was to export the crude abroad and now take refined petroleum products, Jet A1, which is for the one for aviation fuel, kerosene, petrol, and diesel. They take that back in exchange. So, why Dangote will not likely do what
NNPC did?
What NNPC did is because, apart from the fact that it's the only one that has the capacity to crack PMS now, which is petrol, from a barrel of crude oil, there are about 250 components. The engine oil, lubricating oil that you use, that we use in our vehicles, petrol, kerosene, heavy oil, low poor fuel oil, the one used by heavy industries, and condensates used by thermal plants to generate electricity. All these are components. Then there are some other, even fertilizer. Some of these components go into the production of urea fertilizer. So it won't even. Crude oil is like gold. Almost everything you can use. So it pays him to add value to it by producing and getting this all these chain of products than to export the crude. It's for any gain. But I just hope they won't frustrate him to.
Before I come to you, so let me take Kende from Mota, then we'll come to you, okay? Kende, you're live. Good morning, Kende. I think this Dangote thing affected our phone lines. Good morning, Kende. Are you there? Go ahead, okay.
Okay, so I wanted to talk about the impact on Nigerians as well. Back to impact on Nigerians. I think it was on Monday that myself and my friend in Ibadan went to buy fuel, and while we're in the filling station, we saw a man push his his bike to the filling station, and he reached out to beg that he just needs like 2,000 naira put like 2 liters so he can get home because he could not afford to buy fuel into the vehicle. And I know that the president has promised renewed hope, and we are trying to achieve that, but it doesn't seem like the average Nigerian is feeling any renewed hope. It's like everything is shrinking and shrinking what is available in the pockets of Nigerians. So they're seeing this policy as another way to shrink their income even further. So my question would be, the government side from the government side, what can they do to help Nigerians even as they are dealing with the fact that petrol will continue to go up? What would be the right palliative measure? What would be the right support to give to the average Nigerian? How can the government help them?
Yes, I think one of the moves taken by the federal government, which I think is this CNG initiative, there's something they call the compressed natural gas. There are some filling stations now. If you go to Mobile on Agidingbi, and I think the Mobile on Express, you can get gas for your vehicle, but then you need to convert your engine to a CNG engine compliant. So, and then what the government can do is to subsidize the rates of this conversion for as many Nigerians as possible, especially the low and the middle income earners, so that we know that at least we are getting something from government. Because if you have an engine that is running on CNG, it will also run on petrol. But if petrol is selling at 855 naira per liter now, but CNG is less than 200 naira per cubic meter. So, and it lasts longer. It's a cleaner form of energy. If your vehicle runs on CNG, you won't need to do any servicing for 6 months, because the wear and tear on the engine is reduced. So government can subsidize this conversion and also make more NNPC stations and other stations compliant, so that people can get it in more places. Right. That is the only way, so that the pressure on petrol will reduce drastically.
Let me go on a break. I think we can wrap up on petrol for a second, because generally we just have to wait, and it's more powerful for us to let Nigerians know what the issues are, discuss the issues, but all we can do as Nigerians is really to wait and see how the Dangote Refinery begins to distribute, and we'll see how NNPC is able to distribute and offtake. I think they're the singular offtaker now for Dangote. We'll see how that goes. That's going to show you when we come back. We'll talk about the state of the nation with our guests. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
I have a little cup, sir, in my
Global Entrepreneurship Festival, to be hosted at the Entrepreneurship Village in Nigeria, November 22nd to the 24th. Join world leaders, heads of state, diplomats, ministers, governors, investors, policymakers, tech leaders, organizations, startups, and entrepreneurs from all over the world. To attend, visit www.globalentrepreneurshipfestival.com. For partnerships, call 234-912-165-9914. Over 20 million viewers, 5,000 event participants, 200 exhibitors, 43 global speakers, and 12 events, which includes conferences, trade fairs, innovation and robotics expo, art and creative exhibitions, a dazzling fashion show, and a closing concert. All in one global festival. Don't miss it.
Entertainment to me is everything. Entertainment is surrounding myself with loved ones, family, watching some good television shows, TV series, listening to good music, and taking a trip around the world, seeing new places and interacting with different people, and also having a feel of different culture and people all around the world. So for me, I would say entertainment is life. It's larger than life.
Well, Naija, the time is right because the price is right here. Be a part of our turbocharged studio audience for a chance to win amazing and mouth-watering prizes on The Price is Right. Visit www.thepriceisright.ng or The Price is Right on social media for more details on how to participate.
Registration is open to all Nigerians 18 years and above. Come on down, Naija.
It's about time.
The Price is Right is proudly brought to you by Smart Cash powered by Airtel.
Welcome to Pure Entertainment. What would you like to order from our menu today? We have the regulars.
So let me go and look for my jam results. So
My 280 was 320. I suppose don't be one medical.
At this point, I contest my jam results.
I want to close the show.
I can go. I can.
That's all we can take. Ejeki, close the show, you for that long.
Ladies and gentlemen, #1 unavailable by Davido featuring Musa Keys.
We also have today's chef special.
Yo, shine, shiny, yeah. Say recap done, and it's time for #1 on the countdown. One of Nigeria's hottest artists right now, his name is Rema, and this one is called Charm. Kick it.
For dessert and a bit of nightcap, we have the nighttime and online specials.
I want to start the gym, yeah? But do you know one thing that's actually keeping me back? You should start the gym to get fat. Cricket.
She says she does pole dancing to empower women.
What's the difference? There's a difference.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. So pole dancer, you're already almost naked. You're already almost naked.
No, the empowerment for me.
Sex can make your relationship better.
No. Sex can never be overrated.
It is needed.
Especially when it's good sex.
Thanks for staying with us. Before we go ahead, let's take a few comments on social media.
Yeah, GOTV says Dangote could invest his money in anything else, but he decided to help solve Nigeria's biggest problem. We can't afford to let this opportunity waste. Then Antinam says Nigerians are entitled. They don't even know how other small African countries are coping. They have to buy this fuel and pay proper electricity bills. He's talking about the fact that the price, our price is still cheaper than some of our neighboring African countries. Just Reason says, our people seem to be looking at Dangote Refinery in isolation, already singing its success. Most of these commentators are shying away from the real issues and not telling us, they're not telling us the full truth.
Emmanuel said that what Dangote is doing with cement to Nigerians, he will still do it in a few years with oil.
At least we have cement. I mean, we don't have cement. Right. I'd rather have cement and not have cement.
Yeah, so if I may add, the truth is that we all know that there's a cabal behind this whole thing. I don't know whether there will be a possible solution as soon as possible, unless we are able to deal with those people behind it, those who are sabotaging this whole thing and making it not to work. Until that works,
on Monday,
that's when
Boaz said he sells to his distributors at 3,500 naira per bag.
Okay, for the cement.
Yes.
How is they now sell at 7,000?
So it's your middleman.
Doubles it.
This is where the problem comes.
How can transportation cost be 100%?
CPCC.
People want
get in there.
People want to make.
Okay, so that's another thing, like the
extra money. The same way people prefer to go and sell petrol in Benin Republic, or Ghana, or Togo, and make double the amount, rather than sell at Nigeria. So, honestly, we end up subsidizing for other countries. We end up producing for other countries. So, what we consume in Nigeria, that's why NNPC cannot put a hand on what to consume. And you see, the petroleum minister, Enikin Lokobri, was making an allusion to that, and they twisted it for him. He said, fuel in Nigeria is around 600 naira per litre, just before the increment. And across the border is selling for 1,800 to 2,000. So they said he's making justification for the fuel price. But he's just saying the other. He said the security agencies who man our borders, if they can do their own part of this by ensuring that this, that's why I said earlier that if we can't get our borders properly manned, the success story we are recording with Dangote Refinery might just be a fluke. We still see feeling.
That's why technology has been employed to help us track these trucks. And so I'm hoping this technology, because we tried it with the ETA at the ports, and we see how Nigerians kind of sabotage that whole process. But I'm really hoping that, I mean, I want to be very optimistic and happy, but the pump price today, Nigerians are crying. I mean, I tried to fill my tank yesterday, and I just...
What would I feel? Well, we Nigerians too are not even helping ourselves, because there are some filling stations that have this petrol, but they are not selling. They'll tell you to come at night. That's when they're going to sell the petrol.
Why, what's the difference in night and...
Yes, because in the night they will sell maybe at a higher price.
And nobody will be
And nobody will know. And then sometimes the filling stations will have petrol, and it's only a booth that will be working. One booth will be working. The rest will just be there, and then the queue will be very long. We ourselves, Nigerians, we are not helping ourselves.
I think we should also, Nigerians should say, so my last trip, I rented a car and I drove around the US, and I noticed almost double the price from one state to another. So if you're buying fuel in Texas, the price is cheaper than if you're buying in California. California is like double the price. Someone even told me that just before you cross, because I went like 3 states, that fill your tank in Arizona before crossing the border, because once you cross over, the price jumps by $2, and that's not a small amount of money. So instead of buying $2.15, you're buying for $4 just across
per gallon,
per gallon, just across the border. So I mean, just interstate, like you're buying for 800 in Lagos, and then you go into Ogun, you're buying for 1,000, and it is normal. They don't see it as any big deal. And people that understand it,
the cost, the economics.
That's the economics. But in Nigeria, we still have that sort of like, we don't expect that you should be paying more from state to state. It's not allowed. NNPC in other states will still be expecting they should sell the same price they sell in Lagos, discounting the fact that there is a cost of moving the
transportation.
The products.
I have Eric. Let me take it. I'm not sure that was a comment or a question, but Eric, thanks for calling. You're live.
Thank you. Good morning.
Morning.
Yeah. I have like 3 sets of questions. Number 1, before they came up with PIB that turned PIA, we thought that was going to be the rule. Between then and now, I just want to ask, what has happened to Nigeria and Nigerians as regards fuel and all the petroleum products? That is one. Number 2, just last week, the government said they expect dealers of foodstuffs to crash prices within a month. And 2-3 days later, the price of oil is going to the roof. I mean, how do we reconcile that with this? I mean, is there a rail transport with which this foodstuff will be transported free to crash the price other than using it through fuel, diesel, and other means? Then, the final question I wanted to ask, although your guest has mentioned about it briefly, the conversion from petrol to CNG powered vehicles, how many of the stations are available and at what cost? So that we know whether we will completely abandon the petroleum for the big guys and see a way to do the conversion and be moving at least on the bad roads as it were, because we can't afford to use the entire minimum wage to buy just 50 liters of petroleum that does not take anybody anywhere. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you very much. So you started with the petroleum industry bill and the impact, and not seeing the impact.
Yeah, the PIA is, gives, like I said, right of first refusal, to local refineries for them to, and with the PIA, that's why prices are expected to be determined by the market with little moderation from the government. That's which is why Dangote is saying he's waiting for FEC. But then also recall that there's, like I said, there's no way government can just leave everything open for the market to determine. We have seen that it's not working with the Naira-dollar exchange rate. That's why this issue of Naira for crude is coming up. So that's number 1. Number 2, he talked about the prices.
Foodstuff.
Foodstuff, yes. I expect now that the prices of tubers of yam and tomatoes are coming down. I see one funny thing about tomato, which the Deputy Governor of Lagos State talked about recently. The tomatoes we are talking about, 80% of it is being grown in Badagry. And some people will go there and buy it for like probably 7,000-8,000 per basket and come to my 12 and sell at 40,000, 50,000. So Lagos State government is doing something. It's doing something about that. They are, I mean, according to the Deputy Governor, they are empowering those tomato farmers, most of them from the north. They have this particular type from the north, which my wife talks about. I mean, say northern tomato or just tomato, that they are expanding the horizon for them to move to Ekpe and give them some sort of irrigation and assistance.
Let me pause you for a second because this man has been holding for a while. Mr. Hassan from Lekki, you're live. We lost you the last time.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning. Good morning, everybody. Please, what we are seeing now is a serious issue because we are seeing government giving people something with one hand, right hand, and taking it with the left hand. Recently, we are out of this salary structure, 70,000 minimum wage. Now, we are not experiencing a setback yesterday. Setback yesterday in the sense that I bought fuel at 920 yesterday from a filling station. And you can see how this can easily be transferred to all the prices of goods and services in this country. That's number one. Number two, there should be a competitor is a businessman. Despite the fact that government helping in a way for the refineries to come on stream. Our own refineries will always come up to serve as a fallback for us. Number three, the controller of customs, the controller of immigration, the police should be given a marching order by the federal government. There is no any justification for our petroleum being smuggled out of this country. That means they are not doing their job. Because don't think manning our border is just for individuals to be there. No. It's for people, for the technology to work, and for us to have a sincerity of purpose. We cannot be subsidizing for other countries. We cannot be suffering because the government wants us to equate our price with the neighboring countries. That will never work. It's against the law. It's against social contract. Good morning.
Thank you very much, Hassan. Any other comments on social media? As we begin to custom this. But I think Nigerians are really hoping this is going to be a rough patch. And at some time, because, I mean, as someone was saying earlier, that our neighboring countries pay so much more for petrol. So we're so used to paying the subsidized version. However, as you also rightly said, every government must subsidize one commodity, especially that is really crucial to economic development. So we are hoping that at some point, when Dangote's fuel begins to go around to various filling stations, we can have a pricing, because he's waiting for Mr. President to give him a pricing. We are all waiting to know what that figure is going to look like. Now, is it going to compete with NNPC? We'll see. When NNPC is the sole off-taker from Dangote and they sell off to other marketers, how are the prices? So there's a lot of confusion on who's going to be determining how the market forces will determine the prices vis-a-vis what the president is advocating.
Agreement.
So we are still in a confused state. And I'm really hoping that there's some kind of a direction in the coming days or weeks.
And talking about that, I think for Nigerians is whatever your agreements is going to be, just make sure that we have this petrol. Just make sure that when I drive to the fuel station, I can get petrol. And then let it be a price that reflects that, first of all, it is our crude oil. It is being refined in our country. And, you know, I think in that way, a lot of things will be better. But also, I'm just looking forward for the boom that will happen. Is it the boom now? Or I'm looking forward to how this will impact our own currency. And how that would translate into, you know, better development for my country. better things for my people. You know, there's been a period of just constantly worrying, when will the next meal be? How am I going to, what's the fees? Where will I get petrol again? Those questions are constantly on our minds, but a lot of us are just, you know, holding on because we believe that there are processes that has to take place before we start seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. So please, whatever your agreements are, make sure that by the end of it, I drive the fuel station and I get petrol in my car.
Let me take Remy from Misheri. Thanks for calling. Good morning, Remy. Hello. Okay, let me let you.
I wanted to talk about you know, when you mentioned earlier from our YouTube conversation that, they say people are commenting on YouTube that what we're saying right now is just discussing government. We're not, how does that affect our everyday life? Like, the expectation is, people want us to talk about how we are going to deal with the reality of the change happening. And you mentioned earlier that you wanted to go for an event and you decided that this event is not really worth the impact on my finances. And I think that's an important decision that everybody would have to make. One of the callers sadly said she was going to have to change her children's school into a school that she's not really bothered about the standard, but more about proximity to the house. I think people can also start, it's early enough in the term for you to make lifestyle changes are important, because the reality is your income, for those that have fixed income, even those that have variable income, the expenses would have to go up right now, transportation and cost of movement. So you will have to weigh your movement. But I've always all movements that you need to move.
I've always felt that I don't want to use. I'm trying to be
more expensive than our pockets, or what?
Yes, that. But I also feel that we are somewhat spoiled, in the sense that because many of us, I mean, I'm trying to be very careful with how I use my words, because yes, I agree that government should subsidize some things, but we don't really pay for the real value of things in this part of the world sometimes. You know, so I think reality is dawning on us that how, for example, I know when the power minister was saying that she turned off our freezers and everything, everybody went on, how can they be talking about that? But the reality is that when all of us travel abroad, we see how the people that we go and see turn off their lights back to back. When they're leaving, they manage their electricity because they know that at the end of the month, I don't want to pay this amount of that. This is how much is my budget. When my brother-in-law, my mother-in-law, my brothers-in-law used to come back in the years, they always know that there's an increase in petrol because Daddy is watching TV. During the day, we don't watch TV. We go to work. TV, there's increment in electricity usage because they are in the houses. So we know those things and we budget and plan for it. They're on holiday. Those of us that travel, we see those things. But here, we leave TV on, we turn on the air conditioner. In my own house, I've said it in my own house, all the 7 ACs are on until we got banned 500,000 naira. Mr. Brown called a meeting. We have to restructure. Since then, we've not used AC. We've not used air conditioner since band A. And that's the truth. We have not. And we went from 500,000. Our last month bill was 80,000 naira.
Wow. That's very impressive.
That's a Nigeria. That's us changing lifestyle. Yeah. Understanding that's like a desicable behavior that we were having. We need to readdress. So a lot of things, even I was going to a party every day. I got back 2 weeks ago, and almost every day, back to back, I'm going somewhere. The NNPC for not stopped me yesterday. I stayed in my house. Is it by force to go? I told the person, don't worry, I'm not going, I'm not coming. So we all have to begin to adjust.
You're right about adjusting. Definitely, we should adjust, but that situation is different, whereby Nigerians are on queues. It's not that you could not. I mean, if you wanted the petrol, you would have had to join a queue and be there forever.
Yeah.
You know, so we're also saying to government,
don't make it difficult.
Don't make it difficult. What is the advantage of having crude oil in my country? What is the advantage of being, you know, and then I'm queuing for hours? And so we are buying and then very high. Yeah, so that's why we call government. That's why we have to call our government.
Yeah.
Institutionally, we're making some mistakes, you know, and we have to change that. And Nigerians will better understand then when you play your part. Nigerians also will better understand the part that they need to play. Now that I'm getting more light, I'm not screaming and shouting and NEPA, you know. When it comes, I know what I have used, and I know that I deserve the bill that I have gotten, you know. But there used to be a time where I would get a bill, and I would not get the electricity.
Let me let you have the final.
Yeah, so, but, what I want to say is that if the petrol is available, people will buy because people are even ready to buy. That's
why not buying. That's what we used to say when we did. When we say after
let's make it available.
Let's make it available. We'll pay. Yeah. Now it's available and we're also
we'll pay and then we'll
now it's
adjust.
available. Yeah. I think I have to let you have the final word because we're wrapping up now. I mean, final words on this matter. We have to wrap up.
But we are the causes of some of these problems ourselves. Now, Dangote, for him to transport fuel from Lagos to Kano or to Rivers, before now it will have been done through the pipeline. But now most of the pipelines
have been vandalized.
They have been vandalized. So if you pump 100 million liters from Dangote Refinery today, you won't get 10 million liters in Kano.
No.
Yes, I mean, so many places.
Yeah.
In the houses of some people, they have the pipeline. They have piped the pipes to their own houses. So is that government?
No.
So we also have some roles to play. Then security agencies, I keep saying this, if they cannot stop smuggling of these tankers, not motorbikes, so tankers, 55,000 liters across the border, then we'll still be back at square one.
True.
Because it will always be more lucrative to sell across the border than to sell locally here.
Unfortunately, that's all we can take on this issue. Thank you so much for speaking with our journalist, Mujid Damiu. Always a pleasure to have you on the show with us. You spent the whole day. Because this Dangote matter and NNPC was such an important issue that we wanted to really break it down for let Nigerians understand it, because they've been hearing about it, but they don't understand it. But I'm not even sure they still understand, because all they know is that they are queuing at the pump prices.
It's too high.
And it's too high. That's it. So hopefully in the next coming weeks we can get better clarity. That's all we can take on today's show. Hope you learned a few things as we have. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.